Hey everyone, and welcome. So, you know that course outline you get at the start of a chapter? The one you probably look at once and then pretty much forget about? Well, we're going to show you how to take that simple document and turn it into your absolute best study tool using Perusall. I mean, you've been there, right? You're staring at this list of topics and just thinking, okay, now what? How do I actually use this thing to learn? It's a super common feeling. But today, we're going to answer that question once and for all. We'll show you exactly how to make that outline work for you.
You know, the best way to think about it is like this. The outline is a skeleton. It's got the basic structure, right? The framework for the whole chapter. But by itself, it's just bones. Your job with your annotations is to add the muscle, the organs, the stuff that brings it to life and turns it into a full living body of knowledge.
So what's the actual mission here? Well, think of it this way. You're working with all your classmates to co-create the ultimate study guide for your course.
And let's be clear, this is not just some busywork assignment. The real point here is to get you to actively engage with the material. Every single annotation you make helps turn that bare-bones outline into a super detailed, useful study guide that you all build together.
So, where are you getting all this great information? Well, you're not just stuck with one source. You've got the textbook, obviously, but you should also be pulling from any videos you were assigned, materials your instructor posted, and really any other credible academic sources you can find. Your job is to become a master of pulling all this info together.
Okay, so we know what our mission is, but what's the difference between a so-so annotation and a great one? Let's break down what those essential building blocks really are.
Think of this as your quality checklist. A really strong annotation does more than just fill space. It explains or expands on a point, it shows that you actually get the concept, you're using the right terminology, and, this is a big one, it includes examples or makes connections to other ideas.
All right, let's get down to the practical stuff. Think of this as your own personal annotation toolkit. You've got 4 main tools you can pull out and use, depending on what the situation calls for.
Your first tool is the most fundamental one. Just explain the concept. It's exactly what it sounds like. You see a term on the outline, and you add a quick, clear explanation. So if the outline says something like, Erickson, identity versus role confusion, your job is to just briefly explain what that stage of development is all about. Simple, direct, and incredibly helpful.
Up next, tool number 2, provide an example. This is where you make these big, abstract ideas feel real. You connect the concept to something from real life. So for instance, you could explain how a term like peer pressure actually shows up and influences how a teenager might make a decision. Examples are what make these ideas stick in your brain.
Your third tool is all about adding information. This is where you get to connect the dots between all your different course materials. Maybe you pull a key idea from a class video or a specific detail from the textbook that adds a new layer to the outline topic. This shows you're really seeing the bigger picture. And finally, tool number 4, ask a thoughtful question. You got to remember, learning is a conversation, not a lecture. A fantastic annotation doesn't always have to be an answer. It can be a question that gets your classmates talking or pushes everyone to think about a topic in a brand new way. Sometimes the right question is way more valuable than a simple answer.
Now, knowing what to do is half the battle. Knowing what not to do is the other half. So let's talk about a few warning signs and some really common mistakes that you're going to want to avoid.
In this right here, it lays it all out, crystal clear. Just look at the difference. Weak annotations just repeat the outline, or they're super vague, like just writing, "This is important." They don't add anything new. Strong annotations, though, they explain, they expand, and they add real, meaningful information. You always want to be on the left side of this chart.
All right, let's wrap up with 2 final ground rules that make this whole thing work. Let's call them the rules of engagement, and they're all about teamwork and originality. Rule number 1 is absolutely non-negotiable. Write everything in your own words. Do not copy and paste. Not from the textbook, not from a website, not from anywhere. The whole point of this exercise is for you to process the information and show that you understand it.
And don't forget, Perusall is a team sport. It's built for you to work together. So don't just post your own thoughts and walk away. Read what your classmates are writing. Reply to their annotations. If someone makes a great point, build on it. If their example is a little confusing, add a clarification. The more you interact, the better that final study guide will be for everyone.
Okay, so before you hit that post button on any annotation, I want you to run it through one last, super quick check. A simple 3-question test.
It's a really easy habit to get into. Just before you post, Ask yourself, does my comment explain what this concept means or why it's important? Or can I give a solid example of it? If your annotation clearly answers even just one of those questions, you know you've made a really good contribution.
And that right there is the big takeaway. This whole thing isn't just about checking a box for an assignment. It's about taking a simple task and turning it into an incredibly powerful tool for active learning. You're not just memorizing stuff, you're understanding, explaining, and literally creating knowledge together.
So there you have it. That's the complete game plan for mastering these outline annotations. You officially have all the tools you need to crush this. So the only question left is, what's the first concept you're ready to jump in and explain?